What can real estate buyers and sellers expect in 2023? I'm going to give you the challenges we can hopefully say goodbye to next year and go over the new challenges that we are going to say hello to in 2023. Hey everybody, Melanie Atkinson here, Realtor with Smith & Associates in beautiful Tampa, Florida. Today we are talking all about 2023 and the challenges that I think are going to go away and the challenges that we are going to have to face. 2022 was a roller coaster of a market, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. It was rewarding and exhausting and stressful and exhilarating and infuriating and everything in between. But now at the end of the year, I am so grateful to have worked with all of the wonderful buyers and sellers that I worked with in the past year. It has been one for the books for sure. Myself and my team are now fully focused on 2023, and there is one word that keeps coming up in conversations when I'm talking to people about the market next year, and that word is balance. And that is good news. But regardless of market conditions in the real estate business, there are always new challenges that we have to overcome. Solving these challenges is actually one of my favorite parts of being in real estate. But in the last few years, navigating the extreme challenges that we had was like playing some cruel game of whack-a-mole where the loser was a buyer who couldn't find a home for their family. So now that the word balance is coming into our conversations more, we can hopefully let go of some of these crazy challenges and just navigate the new ones that we have to deal with in 2023. So let's get started. First up, we are hopefully going to be saying goodbye to appraisal gaps. Nationally, in April of 2022, 20% of all appraisals were coming in under the contract price. And because of all the competition that was out there, sellers expected buyers to pay the difference between the appraised value and the contract price. This is referred to as the appraisal gap. For my buyers during that time, almost every single one of the contracts that we got accepted had appraisal gap coverage. Some had a limit and some didn't. It seemed nuts at the time, but honestly, it was the only way to get a buyer's offer accepted. As of the end of 2022, I am not seeing appraisal gaps used that much anymore, and I'm not expecting them to be as necessary in 2023. The first challenge that we are saying hello to in 2023 is a stubborn one that we've actually been dragging around for a couple of years now, and that is low inventory. Now, if you're up on real estate statistics, you might say, well, Melanie, there are so many more houses for sale now than there were just a couple of months ago. And you would be right. We just got our updated statistics for my MLS area, which covers most of Central and Western Florida. And it says that we have about 4 months worth of inventory on the market as of the end of November 2022. That's way more than what we had a year ago. In fact, it's 88% more active listings today than there was a year ago. So how can I say that we still have low inventory? Well, I'll explain it in very simple terms. A year ago, we had almost nothing to sell. Now we have some houses to sell, but we still don't have tons of houses to sell. Further, not all inventory is the same. A lot of homes that are lingering on the market right now and contributing to these higher active listing numbers are houses that are either overpriced, in terrible condition, they're uninsurable for a buyer who might need to get a normal loan, or they're in areas that people don't want to be in. Current homeowners who live in good locations still aren't choosing to sell their house. They don't have a lot of motivation to do so unless they have a job relocation or if they really need to upsize or downsize. Why would they want to move? They probably have an interest rate that's really, really low. With less people wanting to sell their houses, that means that there are less choices for buyers in the areas that are most desirable. In the Tampa Bay area, we are still relying on builders for a lot of our inventory, and they are still in the process of building homes for buyers that are currently under contract. A balanced market is typically considered a market with about 6 months worth of inventory. So going into next year, we are more balanced than we were last year. But the feedback that I'm hearing from my buyers is that they are less than impressed with what's currently on the market. And I'm not hearing from a lot of potential sellers that they are going to want to sell next year. Now back to the good news. Hopefully this year we are going to be saying goodbye to waived or really short inspection periods. Buyers no longer have to risk their deposit if houses have inspection issues that come up that they don't want to deal with. In Florida, the most commonly used purchase contract has an inspection period where the buyer can walk for pretty much any reason during that period. So when you're dealing with the craziness of the market that we had over the past couple of years, buyers were waiving that inspection period to make their offer more desirable for sellers. Or they were making it really short, like a day or two. Now, just like the appraisal gap, it totally made sense to do that in order to get your offer accepted by a seller. But it certainly made me uncomfortable. It made buyers uncomfortable, and inspectors were at their wits' end trying to get to all these houses in a day or two. Now, going into 2023, the fact that buyers can have a normal inspection period is a good thing for everybody. Now, to the flip side of everything I just said, for 2023, we are going to have to say hello to buyer requested repairs. I am not going to deep dive into our as-is contracts, but just because a buyer signs an as-is contract doesn't mean that a buyer isn't going to ask for certain repairs or a contribution to do those repairs after closing. We also have another contract in Florida that allows for a certain amount in repairs. Regardless of which contract you use, buyers feel bolder now to ask for repairs that really bother them. I have done more repairs requests in the last 3 months than I have in the last 3 years. I am in no way saying that this is a bad thing. I do want my buyers to be happy with the condition of the house that they're purchasing. But it can be a very contentious part of the home buying process when a seller and buyer don't see eye to eye here. Buyers can be seen as being nitpicky and sellers can be seen as being greedy. This is a very delicate part of the process, and real estate agents have to know how to navigate it properly. If you are a newer real estate agent and you have not had to do buyer repairs requests, buckle up. This is going to be a big one for 2023. More good news. The next thing we are going to be saying goodbye to in 2023 is the historically fast pace of rising mortgage interest rates. We went from just over 3% at the beginning of January to just over 7% in the middle of November of 2022. This pace of increase was the fastest ever. It was devastating for buyers that were caught in the middle who suddenly couldn't afford the monthly payments to buy the homes they wanted. If you've watched any of my other videos on this channel, you know I dislike making interest rate predictions, but I will go out on a limb here and say I do not believe that the rates will continue to rise at quite the pace that they did last year. That's not a very big limb. That's actually pretty obvious. Most experts are predicting more of normal fluctuations for interest rates in 2023. They're always going up and down a little bit. Hopefully, by the end of the year, we will see interest rates lower than what we're seeing here at the beginning of 2023, which is right around that 6%, just over 6%. The bad news is that I do believe those days of super low interest rates are gone for now. Now, those interest rates being higher means we are going to have to say hello to creative financing options. For the last couple of months, I have been getting phone calls from my preferred lenders explaining all sorts of different financing options for buyers to lower those interest rates, either permanently or temporarily. There are 3-2-1 buy downs, 2-1 buy downs, first-time home buyer programs. We have builders contributing to buy down interest rates now again. There's a whole bunch of choices. If you are going to be a buyer in 2023, make sure you have a great lender partner that you're working with that can explain all of these options to you when you're ready to buy, because it changes all the time. The next goodbye for 2023 is the biggest one and the most obvious one, and that is multiple offer situations. All the crazy things that we had to do to get a seller to accept a buyer's offer go away if you don't have multiple offer situations. Now, don't get me wrong, we are lightly waving this trend away because I just had a listing go up that actually had multiple offers on it. But even with that multiple offer situation that I just navigated through, it wasn't a frenzy. It was a calm, rational negotiation. Because desirable inventory is still hard to find, and because people still want to move to Florida, the best houses that come on the market that are priced well are going to have a lot of interest in them. But we are not seeing the same amount of multiple offers that we saw before. And we're not seeing multiple offer situations on houses that don't deserve to have multiple offers on them. Which means great news for those buyers who couldn't win in a multiple offer situation in previous years. So for 2023, we are saying hello again to my FHA buyers and VA buyers and first-time home buyers. You guys definitely had it rough over the past couple of years trying to compete with cash buyers and people putting tons of money down on conventional loans. FHA loans and VA loans are not hard, but they always have a stigma attached to them when sellers are looking at multiple offers, and a lot of times are just considered to be more risky. Now, I know that's not true, and hopefully you know that's not true, but it was really difficult in the past couple years to get sellers to understand that. There is one really important thing that I want VA and FHA buyers to keep in mind for 2023. You may be able to find houses that have assumable loans. This is pretty complex, so I'm not going to deep dive into it. I would rather a lender give you the full explanation, but I want you to know about it so you can ask the right questions. Using a VA loan, for example, if you're a VA buyer buying from somebody who has a VA loan already, this could possibly save you a lot of money with lower interest rates. The same might be possible with an FHA loan. If you are planning on selling your house this year and you have a VA loan, make sure you let your real estate agent know that you have a VA loan that might be assumable. That could be a big selling point for your home. As we move into the new year, make sure you are listening to knowledgeable experts. There is so much noise out there and so many people making these very, very bold predictions. Real estate is very local, so make sure you get in touch with the experts that are in the area that you are looking to buy or sell in. With a more balanced real estate market comes more time for you to do your due diligence. I am not an economist or a psychic. I wish I was. I cannot predict the future. All I can do is tell you guys what's going on the ground level here in the area that I work in. I can assure you that myself and my team are ready for the challenges ahead in 2023 for the real estate market in the Tampa Bay area. If you are looking to buy or sell in the Tampa Bay area, we are happy to help you. The best way to get in touch with me is to register on our website, MelanieLovesTampaBay.com. The link is below. If you are not already a subscriber, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next year. With love, Melanie.